Hey, everybody, I'm Bill.
And I'm Stephanie.
And you're on
The Edge.
Hey, everybody, it's good to see you all. And we're glad to be back again.
Yes, we are.
And we're together.
Yes.
Hope you all enjoyed that last one, even though I ran solo.
Yeah.
I did get some emails wondering what about Miss Stephanie.
I didn't even know about it. He told me afterwards. He's like, I hope you're not mad.
I did, too. I was afraid she'd be disappointed.
Whatever God tells you to do, honey, you do. You don't need me beside you to do it.
Well, yes, I do. I need you to lift me up like an umbrella.
There you go.
Hey, let's talk for just a second about that umbrella story in that last one. You know, where she said, a man is like an umbrella. The water runs off of him. And that your job as his wife is to hold him up.
Yeah.
And I get that.
I do too.
But there are some umbrellas that are tattered. They're full of holes. They're missing spines.
Yeah.
They don't cover very well.
Or
even
they just
when you
won't
hold
even
them up.
open.
Yeah. So you hold them up and nothing happens.
Yeah.
And there are some men like that. And if you're one of those men, you can't expect her to hold you up if you ain't going to shield her from the rain and the sunshine.
A broken umbrella can't expect you to walk around in the rain holding it up like it's going to do anything for you.
Well, what are people going to think?
Yeah, exactly.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
What is you doing? You holding up an umbrella and ain't got no cloth on it at all.
That's right.
Ain't blocking nothing.
Yep.
Right? And there are people that you see who are holding up their man umbrella.
Yep.
And he ain't blocking nothing. Mm-mm. And that's a good woman.
Yeah.
But she needs a better man.
Yep.
And it's just the way it is.
She needs a better umbrella.
Yeah, they both have to be doing their job for it to work.
And she may not be looking for that designer umbrella, that wood-handled, beautiful Bergdorf Goodman umbrella or, whatever.
Neiman Marcus,
Neiman Marcus, whatever. But she needs that umbrella to work for her when she opens it. I don't care if it's a little totes that's $19 on every Christmas season.
Yeah. Yeah.
As long as it keeps that rain off me and doesn't fold when a big gust of wind comes, then that's the umbrella I want.
Yep. Same here.
Yeah.
That's the kind of umbrella I want to be. And if you're locked up right now and you're a man, you should be working on what kind of umbrella you're going to be when you get out.
Yeah.
Get the word in you. Find out what it means to be a godly man, to be a godly husband, a godly father, and start walking that now so that when you get out, you can step into that role.
Yes.
If you're a woman who's incarcerated, well then what, honey?
Well, then you need to learn how to be strong enough to hold up a good umbrella.
Yeah, get in the word, get the word in you, get your prayer life right, get your walk right too, so that you are worthy to be sheltered, and that you can carry the umbrella that will be sheltering you.
And don't be the one to break your umbrella.
Yeah.
If we're tearing our umbrella apart every time we walk through the door, then that umbrella is probably not going to want to work for us.
Yeah, not going to open when you try to open it up.
No.
So that's what we wanted to add to that, and I hope that helps because we love you.
We do.
And we want the best for you when you get out because most of you are going to be getting out someday.
And we want you to be good, strong, sturdy umbrellas.
Amen. Okay, with that, we got a good guest today.
We do.
And she'll be joining us shortly. And she's from Arizona. Mm-hmm. So all of you Arizona people, get ready because we got one of your own.
That's right.
Coming to the Edge today.
Yep.
And we'll be with her right after this.
Now from BTN Studios, the Biblical Truth Network presents The Edge, a prison ministry podcast from Less Than the Least Ministries.
Well, as we said a minute ago, we've got a special guest for you today. Her name is Kristen Johnson, and she's the Reentry Coordinator for both Graham and Greenlee County.
Yeah.
That's in Arizona. And after struggling for years with her mental health and addiction, she's found her purpose through her pain, and that purpose is to help others. In addition to her work with the Sunrise program in the justice system in Graham County, she has a newsletter called The Light that goes back into prisons all over. And in a couple of days, and this is a couple of days from now when we're recording this, not a couple of days from when you're watching it, but in a couple of days, she's going to be a speaker at the Why Not Mindset Collaboration Conference in Springfield, Missouri. That's going to be on August 9th. I'm not sure when we'll get this up there, but it'll probably be after that's already in the past. But
she's doing it now, because why not?
I don't know. We'll find out, won't we?
Yeah, but and I think that for all of those of you who are incarcerated that would like to do something in ministry or start something or have this passion to help other inmates when you get out, pay close attention to this. I think you'll get a lot out of it.
Yeah, I'm sure of that.
Yeah.
So with that, why don't we welcome her in?
Let's do it.
Kristen Johnson, welcome to The Edge.
Good morning.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing well. How are you guys?
We're doing okay.
Yeah.
We're hanging in there. It's kind of busy.
Well with my soul.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, how does that go? I don't know. It's something like that.
Yes.
So, Kristen, I ran into your LinkedIn page, which is how we got kind of connected up. And after seeing some of your posts and what all you're doing, we talked about it. Said, you know what, we need to get this lady on our podcast because she's got something to share, not just in Arizona, but all over the place. Yeah. And we kind of have a little bit of a platform for that. So we thought, what a good match this would be. Yeah. So tell us a little bit first about your incarceration, and you don't have to go into gory details, but tell us a little bit about what that was like and when you got out and that kind of thing.
So obviously I'll just go back just a little bit because I do like what you said about how I got there and everything, because I share my story a lot, and I really more enjoy sharing my message now than just my mess, but my decisions with drugs and alcohol later in my life landed me in prison. And I did 18 months in county jail and then 5 years in prison. And I had a situation where I had already been sentenced and was in prison on one charge. And they took me back to my county because I had gotten a DUI, and they were going to give me 7 more years. When the judge and when the prosecutor asked for 7 more years, you're going to get that. But my brother got up and said, my sister has a lot of light to give. There's a quote called, "What is to give light must endure burning." I think my sister has a lot of light to give. Now she deserves to stay in prison for 5 years. And, my family, I grew up in the church. We all believe in God. We are all very spiritual, and I had prayed and prayed about it. And my whole family was there, and I couldn't look at them or anything. And the judge read my character letters, and I wrote a really good letter that said, I'm going to go back into these places. I want to help these people. And I don't know that he believed me or not, but at that time, and I'm just praying. And he said, let me take a short recess. And he walked out, and he came back in, and he looked right at me. And I have a long history with this judge. And he said, Kristen, I'm going to grant you a level of mercy today. He said, I'm going to give you probation. And when that my life changed that day. It changed. I knew that was God. I got off the phone and I got out of the court and went back, and I called my brother, and my brother said he answered, and they were all out to eat. And my brother said, that's crazy. And that's the Lord, And he said, my dad said, yeah, it is God, but they're going to keep her for the 5 years, right? They're going to keep her for 5 years just so I could get straightened out. But that's when everything changed for me. And, I was just really positive through my sentence. I did have to rely on God. I don't enjoy when people say everybody finds God in prison, because if we haven't found it already, or he's been there before, of course you're going to find him in prison, because you get all your worldly possessions taken away. And when you're sitting in a cell by yourself at night, you're going to need him, So.
Yeah, I've often looked at it this way. Two different ways. One, I didn't really find God when I was in prison because God wasn't the one that was lost. I was.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
But I finally looked up when I hit rock bottom, and that's when I saw him. He was always there, but I just couldn't see him because I was looking in instead of looking out and looking up. And so that's the way I kind of look at that.
Well, I had a leader in my church come and meet with me one day. And he said, meet with me and 2 other girls. And we were just talking to him about it, and that we wanted to start our repentance process while we're inside. And he said, this is the most spiritual, oh, it makes me want to cry. This is the most spiritual experience I've had probably. And he said, and it's happening inside of the prison. He said, I want you girls to know that Jesus is walking these aisles with you. He said, if you'll just let yourself allow to feel that, because you don't think of, I know there was times when he probably wasn't walking beside me because I wasn't allowing it. Yeah. I wasn't allowing it. Who wants Jesus walking beside you when you're doing these horrible things?
Yep. You want to be invisible then.
Yeah. The only time I prayed at that point was when I was in handcuffs. Please, God, I'll just never do it again. Please, if you'll just get me out of this, please. Then right back to chaos.
Yeah, I've done a lot of that bargaining with God myself over my lifetime.
we all have.
Yeah.
It is a common thing in the human condition.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So you got probation, and that was a 5-year probation thing.
Yes, you guys want to hear something funny? And so I am still on intense probation because I was on felony release when I picked up that DUI in a different county here, but they really frown upon that. And so when you're on, really frown upon that. So I had done 10 months on parole, and then I got on probation. I've been on probation for about a year. I just got some new surveillance officers. They're really good, as long as I text them and tell them where I'm going, but they have to come check on me sometimes. And right before I was going to come on, they're at the door, and I run out there and I'm like, hi guys, I'm on a podcast. And they're like, okay, how are you? Can we help you? And I said, no, and ran back in. I'm glad they came right now instead of later, but I'm the least of their problems. I'm the least of their worries. They're very nice. They just have to make sure I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. I understand. I had 10 years of probation stacked on top of my 15-year sentence in prison.
Wow.
And I just completed that Monday of this week.
Yeah.
So just a couple of days ago, I finished my 10 years of probation.
Yeah.
So I know the feeling. I know what you're going through. I was on an ankle monitor. So I was in intense supervision, and there are different ways of looking at that. One way of looking at that is all those rules and things that you have to follow are a bit of a scaffolding, right? It's like bowling for kids. They put those pads in the gutters so it keeps the ball on the lane, right? And that's what those rules are. They're the bumpers in the gutters to help keep you in the lane so that you don't go all kilter, right?
Well, and the thing is I did flat time in Arizona. If you do flat time, I got 5 flat. I had to do every day of that. But there's a state law that says you still have to do parole. So then I had 10 months of parole, and parole is very easy. You don't have curfews. You check in once a month. And so after that, I was on intense probation, and I would just check in once a month, and I worked with my surveillance officer. Then they retired, and they revamped all the rules. So now I really am on intense probation. And at first, I'm just going to tell you, I was really dejected. The first time they came, I didn't answer right away. There was some serious knocking at the door because they don't know who they're dealing with,
Sure.
And I was so dejected and so upset about it for days. I made myself sick. And, finally I had to tell myself, the other option was 7 more years in prison. Like, be grateful. So I've had to change my mindset around that.
Yeah, it could be worse. It can always be worse, right?
You could still be eating that food.
Yeah.
They allow me, I check in with my probation officer. These are surveillance officers every Monday. And if I need to go out of town, they allow me to go. And if I need to go, this is funny, but these are all travel permits for me to go back in and speak at the prison. So it's just a funny kind of workaround, a funny kind of circle that has made itself back around. And when I first started having them and I said, oh, I'm going to the prison tomorrow, they were like, for what? And I said, I go in there and I speak to people. And I think they were a little mind boggled by the whole thing.
And I just want to backtrack a little bit, but it's my understanding that you got this hunger to help others that were in that same situation when you started serving your 5-year sentence.
Yes. So when I went back to court, I knew that was God. That was a blessing. I knew I was blessed. So I wasn't going to let that feeling go. And so I really wanted to do what I told the judge, and I got really active in recovery. But just that quote my brother said always stuck by me. And I have to credit my brother and sister for a lot, for standing by me in prison. But my brother comes to my program and speaks once a month, but he would send me like really good books, like The Obstacle is the Way, Man's Search for Meaning, and, telling me about speaking in possibility, not in limitation. He just wouldn't let me. And I have a good family. My sister came to visit me in rehab, in prison. When I had pushed them all away, we have lost 2 brothers though. And when my older brother was at his funeral, my little brother said, I'm not going to lose any more siblings. I'm going to do whatever it takes. We have a long history of drug and alcohol abuse. I've lost a nephew. I lost my first husband. And so I attribute a lot of what has happened in my life and turning it around to my family and especially my brother and sister.
That support network is so important.
It really is.
Cannot be underestimated. Oh. And so then now you have on your resume right now that you're the Reentry Coordinator for Graham and Greenlee County. Tell us about that. How'd that come?
Well, when I was in prison, I was learning more about reentry and the services that were offered. And I had a virtual meeting with a reentry coordinator here in Graham County. And after that, that's the only time I ever heard from her. I never heard anything back and if I needed help. And I just really started thinking, wow, my husband and my family's picking me up at the gate. Then they're going to take me and get me what I need. And I was getting out with a few girls that had on clothes that they had gotten to the prison. There was a ton of girls I was incarcerated with that didn't know where they were going or were going to have to go out homeless. And I finally could use a computer. And I've known Kathy Grimes, the head of the Substance Abuse Coalition, for years. And I've known what she did. So I got on a computer, I looked up the website, and I just messaged her and I said, hey, I would really like to volunteer. I would really like to be of service. And she said, when you get out, you call me. And within 1 week, she is a spitfire. This lady is amazing. She's never had issues with substance abuse but she's very empathetic and very for us. She was in my living room. And I said, hey, I started this newsletter. She said, what can I do to help you? And I said, I have 2 short-term goals. I want to start this newsletter to go back into the girls I was incarcerated with, give them some resources and hope. And I want to get my peer support. And she looked over the letter and she said, let me take this. She brought it to the coalition. They approved it. They started printing it. So I woke up a couple days later and it's sitting in my front porch all printed. And my brother had helped me print it. And he said, what do you want to call it? And I said, The Light. After what is to give light must endure burning. So it's The Light. And then it worked into me volunteering. 2 weeks after I was out of prison, I went to a substance abuse coalition, got to see the judge that sentenced me. And I walk over and I say, Judge Peterson, I know you don't recognize me out of stripes. And immediately, he was my lawyer 20 years ago. He was like, Kristen, do not go back to prison. He knew exactly who I was. He remembers everything. And now I work with him all the time. But yeah, that's how that came about. And then I just volunteered, Recovery Angels. I was picking people up from jail 3 weeks after my release with the Recovery Angels and taking them to rehab. And immediately when you pick them up at jail, they thought I was a probation officer, I guess because the way I look. As soon as I told them, you guys, I'm kind of nervous taking you to coming to the jail because I got out of prison 9 days ago. And immediately, I mean, it's unfortunate immediately there's a connection. Immediately you can feel them go,
Yeah. So how does your newsletter, The Light, get distributed? Does it just go to one prison or are there multiple units? And how does that work?
So right before I got out, all the girls I was in recovery with, I got their numbers and I just walked around and got a lot of ladies' numbers. Not that just I was close to, because you don't know everybody's last name, but not everybody's. And I had a couple guys at a prison called Phoenix West that had taught me virtually. And I had told them, we had a class virtually, I'm going to start this newsletter. And they're like, cool, whatever, we believe you. Well, they still had some time left when I got out. So I sent them in this newsletter and I sent it to all the girls. And immediately I started getting letters back from the guys. And I have a real good friend named June who would come in and bring HA meetings into the prison. And we love when somebody from outside comes in. And I just love her. And she'd been incarcerated. And she called me after she went in, after they got the first newsletter of The Light. And she said, Kristen, the girls, I want to get emotional. She said, the girls came in bringing your newsletter like 3 weeks after I'd been released 6 weeks. She said, they're crying. They're proud of you. They have hope. And then from there, it just took off. My reentry program, I work with people 6 months to the gate. And so I start sending it to them. I have a son who's incarcerated. I start sending it to him. And so it goes into some other states now. I have some pretty, and I don't want to notice their names. I have actually sent it or had, I don't want to say his name because he's not the best of character, but somebody that's pretty famous write me the other day and say, hey, I love your newsletter. I enjoy it. I read it in prison. He's in federal prison. And I'm like, how does he even have my newsletter?
So if people want to get your newsletter, can they just write and ask for it, or how?
Sure. And I do send it in by mail because of this, to put it on the tablet, number one, until I figure out I'm going to get it on the tablets everywhere, but to put it, just send it. People are like, just send it on Securus, like attach it. That would cost me $1 million. And there's something like authentic to me. I know about getting mail. I used to get a newsletter from a place called New Freedom and opening it and be able to look at it. What's happened in Arizona prisons now, though, is there's such a problem with spice being sprayed on the mail. They copy all the men's mail, not the females, and give it back to them. So it's not in color, which it's not a big deal. But what I've started doing is when I go into second chance graduations to the yards I can, I just take a stack of colored ones and they give it to them. Then I don't have to mail as many. But I don't ever want to miss anybody. I went in with my friends. It's called the Freedom Tour. They're called Convicted Comeback. You guys should look at them on LinkedIn. I was in prison with them, and they started this nonprofit, and they go in and work out with the senior citizens, and we do something called the Freedom Tour. We do the Freedom Tour, and we go in and we get to work out on every yard. And I was able to, we even got to go in on closed custody. They locked us in there with them, 9 of us, 4 felons, and they didn't get to exercise with us. But I said, hey girls, give me your names. I said, Monday, I'm going to send you this newsletter. And I ended up on all yards with probably about 30 names. So Monday I came in and wrote them all a personal letter. I sent it in, and on Thursday my phone rings, and it's a Perryville number. And I have a lot of people call me, so I answer it. And she said, Kristen, this is Dopey. You met me. Do you remember me? And I said, I do remember you. She's not getting out till 2040. And she got very emotional, and she said, thank you so much. Thank you for doing what you said. And I'm making sure we can exercise with you next time. And I can't wait to see you again. And so I'm going to see her next week. So that's awesome.
Now, the way it works in Texas, yeah, me too. When you mail something to an inmate in Texas, you have to use their name and number, but you say all the mail goes to Dallas.
Yeah.
And they scan it in, and then they get it on their tablet. So they never get a hard copy now.
So I think that'll eventually happen in Arizona. I visited a unit last week in Graham County, and it was really amazing. We had a service at this church, this old church that's on the prison ground, because it used to be a barracks like in the 1800s and early 1900s, and they had the church there. And I was able to carry some in to them, and they're on their unit. There is a whole building, a dorm that is full of people that it's a sober living home in prison, and they're the recovery support specialist moved in there with them. They're trying to help them get sober, but there is a huge problem on that yard, and they get it sent in on the mail. And they said they get it all copied. They said it even comes in on legal mail. That's mind-boggling to me.
Yeah. Go figure. Yeah. And then I'll ask you if you'll share your address. You don't have to give it to me now, but share your address with us to put up on the screen for people to read if they want to write to you. And we'll put that up in post-production so y'all can write to Kristen, because I know she'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
Our podcast, we have subscribers now in 40 states.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
you're going to be getting some mail.
Yeah, you're going to get some mail.
Yes. And
kind of like back on what you were saying before, like that as soon as you would tell them that you were just in prison a few weeks ago or a few days ago, they would, right? And I think that follows through when they hear from someone that's in ministry now that it was a former felon. They tend to have more trust in someone that understands what they're going through firsthand.
Yes.
So I love it. I love to see success stories of people who have gotten out, had that vision early on in their their incarceration, and developed it and continued it and planned it and got out and hit the ground running. That is just something that I will continue to drive home to everybody that we speak to, that it doesn't start the day you get out. It starts while you're in there.
And it is a sure sign that it's a godly thing. God opened this door for you, and you stepped through, and you were faithful to the calling, right? That you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's why the doors continue to open. If doors start closing, then it's time to look and do something else. I'm not doing what God wants me to be doing anymore.
But she was already open to listen and take the advice of a trusted brother. And because some people might not even realize that as God's grace, because of that, faithful brother that she was able to actually listen to. Because not everybody who's got drug and mental health issues are able to slow down and listen and understand that people are trying to tell you the truth or help you, because you just can't. But
you're right. So
you were able to. So that's part of the miracle there, was that you were able to sit down and listen to that word and take it in.
Absolutely. That's to your credit.
Yes. And also, when I got out, I went to rehab finally after I bonded myself out. I went on the run for a lot of months. I was in jail. They let me out, and I ended up having to go to rehab because my drinking and my mental health, that was my last resort. So when I signed my plea for 5 years, I came back, and my sister took me to court, or to meet my dad for court once. My brother drove me all the way. It was hours away. When I came back, the guy said, we're going to graduate you. You're going to prison in 5 weeks. We don't want you to stay here. And so I call home, and my parents are really nervous. They're like, no, keep her. No, I'm not going to stay in for 5 weeks because I'm confident in myself. And I called my sister, and she said, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. And nobody else would let me stay at their house because I've been there 60 days. I mean, I'm a train wreck before that. Yeah. So she comes and picks me up, and we're able to spend the last 5 weeks together. Her and her husband, they got married, I think, when I was in 6th grade, and they came and visited me in prison. And, my poor husband at this point, we're not even speaking because of the things I had done. That didn't come back. My marriage wasn't able to repair that until a little bit later. And right before I went to prison, he did come to my sister's a few days earlier and picked me up and took me to his house and said, let's have Thanksgiving with our kids. And we did. And the funny part of that is, when I showed up there, I'm the cook. When I showed up there, my girls had made Thanksgiving dinner, and I had to throw some of it away because I'm like, we are not eating mashed potatoes. We are not eating instant mashed potatoes. We are eating home. So I got to have that time with my kids and my grandkids that I wouldn't have got to have before. So my husband came and picked me up, and then he dropped me off right before I went to prison.
So that's a blessing.
A blessing.
Yeah.
Then the next thing that's on your agenda, I assume one of those travel permits lets you go to Missouri. You're going out of state.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to Missouri on that one. I'm appearing virtually, but I am going to Missouri this month for Harvest. Harvest. It's a prison. I'm going to teach some classes via the tablet. But September 8th and 9th, I'm going to Pittsburgh to speak somewhere that's going to be piped into the tablets. I just went and got my travel ID, my travel license. And they let me go out of state. It's kind of funny how they keep such good track of you here. But you know what? That's all rules and regulation. That's all to make sure and that's all to make sure I can get off. If I'm not getting all these check-ins, I'm never getting off.
Yep, that's right. And frankly, they have to deal with some knuckleheads.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And they don't know till they know, right? Yeah.
That's right. That's right. I mean, they asked me the first day, I said, well, I'm on probation for a DUI. And the guy said, I know, are you staying clean now? And I said, I've been sober for 7 years. And he said, oh, do you know how many people probably tell them that, though, that really go fill a drug test after that? I mean, I get it. I 100% get it. Because I deal with people right out of jail and prison every day. And I'm going to say the ones I deal with, the vast majority of them want to change because they work with me in prison. But I get some that just want to get out and get a cell phone. And then either they're really hard to deal with or I see them one time,
Yeah. We get the same thing.
Yeah. So what is this why not mindset? Because that can go both ways. There are times I said why not that it got me in trouble.
So the why not mindset is something that another Rustin, seen my stuff on LinkedIn, and he just said, I'm having this collaborative conference with a lot of different people, and we just think he's been in prison. I just really think people would like to hear your story. That's what it is. It's a conference, and he just got his nonprofit. He's really just trying to build on something. More reentry when you get out. He has some partnerships with trucking companies. He's trying to get partnership with the bank that will let people open an account with less than $50, because you need a bank account when you get out sometimes, but you don't have money to put in. So he's working on some really great things. And so I just had a meeting with them. And so I'm just going to be a part of that. And, anytime I can support, I try to be a part of it.
Yeah.
That is really great.
I love it.
I do.
You do have to make sure you're supporting the right thing, though. I really, because some things are just not. I have run into a lot of people that want me to support or help. And in actuality, they want me, I don't mind sharing what we're doing here, but they want me to buy something from them, or can I pay them this fee? No, we're a nonprofit. It's me, my boss, and then there's 2 prevention girls. We don't have money to do your program or for you to market us. That's not how this works.
Yeah. That's us. We have 1 paid employee, and I'm not one of them. So.
Right.
I ain't paying anybody else.
Yeah, and we just did an interview the other day with another person with a nonprofit who does prison ministry, and they said, "I've got to. Are you sitting down? I've got something to tell you. There's no money in nonprofits."
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. What a shocker, huh?
You are not going to get rich off your nonprofit.
Yeah.
No, and what another lady called me the other day.
Making sure, and we go through the same thing, just making sure that they align with your beliefs.
That's what I'm saying. Every
group aligns with what you yourself are aligned with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I had a lady that wants to meet up next week, and she has a lot of ideas. And I said, well, I'm mostly doing that. And she said, well, I do some kind of massage, and I'd like to offer that to your program. And I said, well, that's something we could talk about. She said, because we can make money off that. And I said, I'm not trying to make money off these people. And I am a nonprofit. We don't make money.
Yeah.
People need to realize that we go in because we love the inmate, and we want to, it's not just about giving them the word of God. The Bible doesn't say that you came to prison and you preached to me. It says you came to visit, you came and visited me in prison. Mm-hmm. So what they need is more people that just are going to go and interact with them, just like they do every other friend. Yeah. So
I don't think that it started out like that. I just wanted to pour into these girls that were still in there and help them when they got out. But now the more I go into prisons, and then I am the reentry coordinator. Reentry starts way before they get out. And being on these max units, these people are not getting out most of the time. I love being there. I love being there with Convicted Comeback and just being able to talk to them. And the light every time, that's mostly the only features in it are people that have been incarcerated, some that have been addicted. Then we have a health page. Then it's kind of a big undertaking because it keeps growing, but I have to keep it within a certain amount of pages because the postage is outrageous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. Mm-hmm. It's tough.
Yeah.
So tell us.
We find a way.
Yeah.
Now, the reentry coordinator stuff you do is for the Sunrise Project. Is that right?
Well, it's 2 different things. So
okay.
I have a DOC reentry program that starts before they get out. And if I send out 30 applications, I get 2 back, maybe. And then if I get 2 back, one of them actually wants to do, because we set goals. I work with them before they get in prison. A lot of times I go see them in prison. And then when they get them out, if we don't pick them up, they come to the House of Hope. I can give them hygiene. We help them get a job, stuff like that. And they do come to the Sunrise program. The Sunrise program is something that started about a year ago or a little bit. I hadn't even been out of prison a year. And it's me, the judge, the coalition, the judge, the prosecutors, the jail commander, the sheriff. And we started this Sunrise program that if you're arrested on simple drug or paraphernalia charges, you can come do the Sunrise program. You can do pretrial services. They'll set your sentencing 90 days out and it'll reflect in your sentencing. They're not trying, in my county at least, to really just send people to prison. And the Sunrise program is more just about support and connection. You get enough IOP and classes like that. And so I have court-ordered people, but what's happened is people walking off the street. They hear about us in jail. They have bigger charges. Can we come? And I asked the judge, and he said, absolutely. Some of them show up though because they're like, I've heard this can help you with your charges, but you know what? That doesn't matter, because at least it shows the initiative to get them there, and they get something from it. And if they don't, that's fine. They don't keep coming. But who cares? If you want to get help with your charges, and if you'll show the initiative to show up every week, I'll go to court with you. Maybe after you get your signature, never going to come again, but still you show the capacity to want to change. So
and you never know what's going to stick and be a seed that ends up being harvested at a later time.
Yeah, we've often said for our church services that we do in prison, I don't care if somebody's coming there because they're wanting to meet a homeboy that they don't get to see and they want to give them a bag of coffee. I don't care that that's why they came. What I care about is do they hear the word? Do they get into the music? Do they give God an opportunity to touch them? Yeah. Why they came is
irrelevant.
Yeah, is irrelevant. Yeah, they're there. That's the important thing, and it provides the opportunity. Now that said, just showing up just to see if you can get some help with your charges, the charges are a symptom, right? It's what you do there that will help alleviate the real problem.
Right. And I am a behavioral health technician. I am a recovery support specialist, and there's more than one of us that are part of the program. It's our program, like I run it. It's part of the Substance Abuse Coalition, but the house manager is a peer support specialist. But we're all very supportive. But if we do some assessments, just some borders, some data before they come in, some assessments, and I meet with them. And if they need help beyond, I can tell if you need help beyond the scope of what I'm going to provide. They still come to Sunrise, but I really try to help to get them into IOP or somewhere that at least have them get a not an examination. You know what I mean? When they first go and just get a consultation kind of and see. Yeah.
Let me ask you, just because this is going to be a question that comes up for you, and we'll just nip it in the bud right here. Do you have accommodation for people who are taking medications?
So we do accept people with MAT services. So we have 2 houses. They can't dose on site. They need to have it somewhere else. And if you take medication, we can't have narcotics there, obviously. But if you
I'm talking about like mental health drug medications.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We have safes in the bedroom. Yeah, for sure. We have safes in the bedroom, just as long as they lock it up. That's for their protection as well as everybody else's.
Yeah, absolutely. That's excellent, because I know that here in Texas, at least, a lot of places, if you need to be administered medication, they won't.
Yeah, it's a deal breaker.
It is, because they don't have the licensing to be able to handle medications and keep them safe and locked up and that kind of thing.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, what else do we need to know about Kristen Johnson and the things that you do and
the wild success? I mean, come on.
Yeah,
we celebrate you, girl.
Yeah, amen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to talk about is I have worked really hard, and I've had some great support, though. Kathy Grimes showed up in my living room, and now I work for her, and she's really changed things for my family and I. And, my parents are really good friends with her. But when this opened, she kind of let me design my whole office, this end of it. What do we need? She really values my opinion. And then we went to cut the ribbon. She handed me the scissors. And so I'm up here. I hadn't been out of prison a year yet. And also, she's done this for 25 years. She's never had a drug problem. She doesn't really have a lot of family members that have drug problems. And she just really cares about people. She's been able to open this, get 2 houses built. We have 3 buildings now. The prevention girls go in the schools, and we have these great programs. I also have to attribute it to the fact that our judge and our justice system and our sheriff, who's literally arrested me on several occasions, looked at me and said, "We believe you. We want to have it." I just was in court yesterday with a girl who just got out of jail, and I'm sitting at the table, and the judge has said, "Kristen's been there, Miss Johnson," he calls me. And he did tell me recently, he said, "I just want you to know I'm very proud of you, and I knew you could change." And he's the judge that's actually not judgmental. I mean, he has to sentence you, but he's really not like, one day I was in court. Yeah, he wants to help. One day we were in court and he really wanted to be firm with this girl because she kept testing dirty. And his firmness, I thought, he's the nicest firm man in the world. Do you know what I mean? They know he can send him to prison though. And I think this Sunrise program helps me as much as it helps other people. And I recently started going back to meetings because I was having a lot of just anxiety and things, and I couldn't figure out why things weren't going well. So I started going back to meetings, but I have worked really hard. When people tell me that things just fall in my lap, that's not real, but I have to say something kind of just did fall in my lap. I was able to get in the Stafford prison. I got part of this coalition. I was appearing in Stafford prison, which is a 500 men yard. And I had a meeting and they asked me to come speak at their thing. I went to church there. I was a speaker, but I sat down in the pews with them for 30 minutes before I got up and stood before them. And I was talking to them about, I'd like to bring some holistic stuff in here. Well, I just stayed on it and I have a friend and we just spoke that. And on the 19th of September, we are going in there with the sound bowls. Like people, now that avenue for some reason, and it was God. For some reason, I had this one meeting and that kind of just opened these doors and that thing almost fell in my lap, but not because we just said we were going to do it. But still, it was way too easy. Because of the choices we made, it opened up for us.
Well, it was God's plan.
God's will.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. The Holy Spirit put that on your heart, and you stepped out in faith, and God opened the door.
I personally just think that what you're doing is so important because not enough people realize the relationship between drugs and alcohol and mental health problems, first of all. And then incarceration in the mix. So those three things, they went and closed down all the mental hospitals, even the ones that were doing well and really helping and treating patients. And they just expanded prisons. That's basically how it worked. So it's just really important work that you're doing.
Thank you. There's a picture of us sitting in the church and it's me and all these inmates. And one guy did walk up to me and said,
send that to me and I'll put it up here on the podcast.
I want to. That's what I'm saying. And he said, "Are you the new CO3?" And then I got up and told my story and they're laughing and they're excited and and I got a lot of their information. So I'm able to send newsletters in there. But that church, and I promise you, when you walk through the doors of it, there's like a blessing over it. And I put the picture on Facebook. I've had so many men message me and say, "I met God in that church. I talked to my mom when she passed away in that church. That church is where I changed my life. I just want to go back there and sit in the church, honestly."
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, before we go, yes, it's getting about that time.
Yeah.
I want to give you a chance, and I'm going to put you on the spot here because here's what happens to me is I'll forget somebody. But if there are people that you want to give a shout out to and say their name and where they are, you don't have to say their whole name, their first name. Hey, whoever, this is your opportunity. Give them a shout out. They'll love to hear it.
Well, I do have to thank the Heavenly Father first. I really do. He works in my life. He just does. And, my husband, I've been with him for 25 years and I had years of addiction and incarceration. He picked me up at the gate when I was gone. He took care of my family, not just my children, my parents. They would come visit me in prison. My dad is amazing. My dad, he's just very tenderhearted. And actually, he gave me a check for $35 when I got out of prison and I saved it. And you can't see it, but I just went and got his signature, my last name tattooed on my arm. And it's just, I feel like I have him with me all the time. Wow. I don't know if he knows that, but I'm going to show him this, but it's okay. He knows now. He doesn't like tattoos.
I know now.
I have to say my sister and my brother-in-law he's more like my brother. He's been there my whole life. And my brother, Chris, and his kids. But I just want to give a special shout out to Kathy Grimes and the Graham County Substance Abuse Coalition, Judge Peterson, the sheriff. There's pictures of me and the sheriff, with his arm around me. And I work with Judge Peterson all the time. Kathy Grimes she runs this whole coalition and she's a huge part of the support when I got out. And that's why I wanted to do what I wanted to do, because I had people that supported me and I saw so many girls in prison that didn't have that support. And I have some really good friends that wrote to me and were at the prison gate when I got out, lifelong friends. And I hope I don't leave anybody else, but I leave anybody out. You know, my kids and my nieces and nephews really have come back. Yeah. And supported me, even though I put them through a lot. So that's about 100 people. I don't know.
How about anybody special in prison that you want to give a shout out to?
Well, all the girls and the guys that I get to go in there and visit, I really want to give a shout out to the girls on closed custody on Lumley. They're not getting out at all, and they have these mindsets, and they're inspirational. You know, they are that you do learn how to survive in prison. That when you think, that's why when I start doing things in here, I'm like, you survived and you thrived in prison. So there is those people in prison. And there's just been people, there's a little old couple that came and ministered to us once a week from my church, barely can get in the door. And I once a week, we got to go sit with them, and they've done it for like 7 years. And I get to talk to them sometimes. And that's amazing. So.
Awesome. And that's Lumley, Lumley?
Yeah, Lumley.
Excellent.
All the girls at Perryville. Perryville is where I went. Perryville is where I grew up. Perryville. Yeah.
There you go.
Excellent. Shout out.
Yeah.
Right. Anything else, honey,
I don't think so. Well, I think we covered it all.
I think we did. Christian.
We did.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
It's updated on the successes and progress and all that stuff of your program.
I'm going to send you the picture. I'm going to send you, I don't know if I sent you a copy of the newsletter, but I will definitely shoot it over on email.
Please do that. And then also the address that people can write to you. And we'll put all that up for everybody.
Yeah.
Yes. And I would love for anybody who views this, because I give it to people on the street too, because people that have families and, you know, everybody I send it to a lot of people in rehab too. So I'll send it to anybody that wants it. I really want to keep it alive. My goal is to get it on the tablets where they can read it like that. But you know, when it's God's time, it's God's time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, you guys.
Hey, thank you. We're glad we really got this figured out.
Yeah.
I struggled a bit, but now I figured it out too.
Excellent. All right. So thank you for being here.
Yes.
And thanks
for having me.
Joining us. We appreciate you tuning in today, and we'll see you next time right here on
The Edge.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks for joining us today on The Edge, a Less Than the Least Ministries podcast.